at some point said, we shouldn't do this, I'm not going to listen to you, they probably would have been disciplined.
Yes.
Okay. Do you take responsibility for their involvement in this?
Yes.
Okay. Now, did anybody else touch the camera from the time you took it away from Ms. Bergquist to the time the SD card was given to the judge?
No.
Only you?
Yes.
At any time that you offered Ms. Bergquist the option of showing you ID and being on her way, that was before you were instructed to bring her to the judge, correct?
Correct.
And by the time you had already looked at her ID and saw who she was, by then it was too late and you had already been instructed to bring her to the judge, correct?
Correct.
Because if that's not the case, if you had not been instructed, you would have let her be on her merry way, right? After seeing her ID.
If the presiding judge's office had come back and said that they didn't want to be involved, yes.
That's not what I asked you. I asked you before they told you that you should bring them, that you should bring her up. Before that, if you would have seen her ID, you would have let her be on her merry way, right?
At some point in there before I contacted the presiding judge, yes.
There's two different things I'm focusing on. There's when you contacted Judge Degelski's clerk, and there's when you got a call back telling you to bring her to Judge Felice, right? Or was it the same phone call?
I don't recall. I believe I called them. I called my supervisors. My supervisors instructed me to call the presiding judge's office. Presiding judge's office, I believe they told me Jagelski was out and they would get back to me. So at that point, I couldn't do anything.
Which supervisors did you call?
I believe it was Chief Jackson.
Does he still work here?
She is retired.
What did you tell Chief Jackson Ms. Bergquist was doing wrong?
I informed her that we had observed her doing the videos.
Did you say in and around the building or outside
I
the building?
I believe outside the building.
That's what you told her? Very important.
Yes.
And even though you told Chief Jackson that Ms. Bergquist was observed recording outside of the building, she still instructed you to keep her in custody and bring her to the judge.
She instructed me to contact the presiding judge to see what they wanted to do about it.
And she knew that you had Ms. Bergquist in custody?
Yes.
What's Chief Jackson's first name?
Kelly.
When did she retire?
December.
2018?
Yes.
Now, just one last thing and then we'll be done. I just want to get back to this suspicious activity. And the suspicious activity, if I understand it, was that she was recording outside the courthouse. Was there anything else?
No. And refused to give her name, identify herself.
But before you even approached her, would you have said that she was acting suspiciously?
Yes.
Okay, what was suspicious about it? And again, we're talking before you approached her and she refused to identify herself.
Well, when I was called, she was videotaping the front doors of the building,
That's suspicious?
and the deputy had asked her what she was doing, and she said, I don't have to tell you. So yes, that was suspicious.
That's to assert your rights as suspicious?
Yes.
Okay. Now, what about Deputy Barbaro? What could have been, do you know what was suspicious prior to him approaching her?
He observed her out there for some time videotaping the front of the building.
What was suspicious about that?
He called for a supervisor.
What was suspicious about that?
I don't know.
If she hadn't asserted her rights, well, let me ask it this way. If she would have complied with your initial demand outside of the courthouse to identify herself, what would you have done?
We would have done our report and let her go.
So you would have written down her ID, maybe taken a photo of it or something. Once you have her identification, you would have let her be on her way.
Yes.
Would you have allowed her to keep recording?
Yeah. To keep recording?
Yeah.
We would have asked her to move to another area away from the open doors.
She was by the open doors?
Yes.
She was blocking the doorway?
I didn't say she was blocking, I said she was by the doors.
Why would you have asked her to move?
Because we don't know if she's videotaping people inside the building or the security posts.
What's the difference? Who cares what she's recording? People, security posts. If you can see it from outside, why can't you record it?
I don't know.
You can, under
Okay.
the First Amendment, can't you?
Yes.
And that's what she was doing, right?
Correct.
All right, I don't have anything further for this witness.
Okay, so you said that under the First Amendment, you could videotape the outside of the building, correct?
Correct.
But there's a judicial order that prevents the taping of the inside of the building, correct?
Correct.
And where you observed Ms. Bergquist videotaping, she could see inside the building?
Correct.
Okay. So that's the functional equivalent of taping the inside of the building, correct?
Section 4.
Correct.
And and when you're looking at her, when you're walking out, when you first see her videotaping, you don't know exactly what she can see, correct?
Correct.
You just know that she's taping the entranceway to this building, correct?
Objection 4.
Correct.
And what was the reason that you approached her at that time?
Deputy Barbaro had called for a supervisor. I was the only one available.
And you wanted to investigate why she was taking these photos?
Correct.
And she refused to tell you, correct?
Correct.
And she refused to give any identification?
Correct.
Did that concern you?
We have to do reports, and so yes, it concerned me that there may be videotape of something that could come out later on or with a court case, and we don't have a report on it. Yes, that concerned me.
And there were potential security concerns that you had with her taping the entrance to this courthouse?
Objection 4.
Correct.
What were those concerns?
Well, we're responsible for the safety of all the people that are in this building. We have domestic violence cases, we have trials, we have jurors, we have witnesses. So there's a lot of people that come in and out of this building that, if videotaped, could be dangerous to them.
And when we were discussing this earlier,